Na'Vi are replacing s1mple. Yes, s1mple. According to a report put out earlier today by HLTV, Na'Vi are in advanced talks to sign Wonderful, the promising up-and-coming Ukrainian opper who previously played for Team Spirit and most recently Spread. The report claimed that should the deal get finalized, he would be replacing none other than s1mple. Now, on paper, this makes sense. They're both oppers, they're both really talented. It's just like s1mple. Now, for those who aren't familiar with who Wonderful is, he is an 18-year-old Ukrainian op prodigy who, like s1mple, plays on a really high sensitivity, is a really ballsy player. He actually has been referred to as a mini s1mple in the past. And these players actually have something of a history. Obviously, there's a respect between s1mple and the young up-and-comer, but this happened a couple of months ago. So yeah, as to why Na'Vi would want to sign Wonderful, it makes a shit ton of sense. He's a really talented player. He's very, very young. He hasn't quite found that roster to fit in with yet. That makes sense. What didn't make sense was why they would want to replace s1mple to begin with. Now, for those who didn't know, and I'm sure there's not many of you who didn't know, this past weekend at IEM Sydney, the first big CS2 tournament, s1mple actually wasn't in attendance. s1mple hasn't been mincing his words when it comes to his not so great impression of CS2, and a lot of people were sort of swelling rumors that this might be the reason that he was sitting out the tournament. Now, this wasn't the case, apparently, as due to a report by Dexerto, it became clear that s1mple just had to sort out some paperwork issues to do with EU residency. Of course, people couldn't help but sort of hound s1mple on stream and wonder, rightfully, when he'd be showing up to a CS2 event.
Will you join next CS2 event? Hopefully, yes.
Now, it's not necessarily a secret that s1mple isn't the biggest fan of CS2, which, let's be honest, the game has issues. I feel like he feels about the game the way that most of us feel. And there was this whole story from a couple days ago about how Valve DM'd him and he left them on red. And we actually made a video about it, and a lot of people had thoughts about whether he should have responded, didn't respond, which you should check out if you haven't seen. But I think it's fair to say that it doesn't really make sense that s1mple would be getting replaced on Na'Vi because he isn't the biggest fan of CS2. The game has a ton of problems, and most of us recognize what those problems are. Now, the report did say that according to one particular source, s1mple was looking to take a break from competition, which, I mean, let's be honest, makes a ton of sense. The guy's been going really, really hard for the entire duration of his pro career, like 8 years at this point. He's won a major, he's won a slam, he works really hard. There's obviously also a lot of political and presumably personal stuff going on with his life right now. CS2 is sort of in shambles. In a word, I get it. I find it believable. And then earlier today, s1mple released this tweet where he basically cleared the air and just said that he was in fact looking to take a break. He claimed it's only half the story, however, and that one of the reasons he wanted to take a break was to basically handle some personal stuff in his life that he didn't really go into too deeply, just claimed that he needed to fix documents and take care of, presumably, his family. He also explicitly addressed the issue of switching to another org and said he never thought about it, which, I mean, this clocks with what we know about s1mple. He's always wanted to play for Na'Vi. He stayed with Na'Vi through thick and thin, but he did say he'd be interested in seeing offers, however, maybe as a rifler, not as an opper, since right now the op is not super impactful in the game, though it remains to be seen for how long that stays the case. Anyway, he basically says nothing is decided yet, and, you know, he still wants us to cheer for Na'Vi, and he's still on great terms with the org, and yeah. Anyway, for right now, that's basically it. A lot of absolutely ballistic roster news over the last couple of days, and I just know that before this video even comes out, there's going to be some other bombshell that gets dropped on us. When we know more, so will you. We'll keep you updated. Have a good one.